I need to hang on to this.
Well, I guess that's good to know. I'm glad I did what I did with those. Hello, everybody. This is Frogman. Welcome back to The Long Dark and our Tales from the Far Territory character that we're going to probably be putting to bed today, or at least putting her away until the next massive update that's going to come through. But I did want to do a little bit of looking around and realizing that there is actually a couple of things that with an experiment I needed to know. So apparently burdocks do go bad after a while. And that's an interesting thing to know. Don't be storing those in your cupboards and whatnot. So they're definitely counted as a bit of food that can go bad. So we also have a whole lot of this stuff, and apparently these don't go bad. We can put those in here. I don't remember if I had a hammer here. Do I have a hammer here? I might have to go find a hammer. I mean, I'm not going to go do those kinds of things as far as this character is concerned. She's done enough for the moment, and all I was going to try to do was just, well, empty our inventory out, do a little bit of, discussion, maybe kind of an end-over little talky talk thingy, and then get ready to do the next thing. So what we are going to do is we're going to do a small amount of experimentation with this Scurvy mechanic, mainly because I did a little bit of research. It has been in the game for quite a while, and people know pretty much what they need to know about it for the time being. There are a few things we don't care about or things I'm not going to worry about. Again, my biggest issue, again, with a lot of this cool stuff with the way they work with this whole game specifically, is just the lack of inventory usability that happens at times here, and we're stuck with these two kinds of things. Now, since we're in the lower Great Bear and it's not going to be ridiculously cold, I may go ahead and just do this just to get a little bit more carrying capacity because it's not really that cold here. So that will help us considerably with our we now have a little bit more carrying capacity because of the fact that that makes a couple of our I forget exactly what it is. It's like 3 of your heaviest tools, so like maybe that, and the toolbox, or whichever one. I think it's a 1/3 or 0.5% lighter, something like that. It's not a massive increase, but it is a very noticeable, or at least notable, when you're trying to get some things done. I also want to drop a couple of these other little things off that we've been carrying around. Namely, I don't need that anymore, and I don't need that anymore. We're going to place that right there. And this can get to be curing and doing whatever it needs to do. I'll leave this stuff right here. So our major concern right now is that she is about to starve to death, and we have scurvy. So we're currently sitting at, or scurvy risk, we're currently sitting at 40%-ish because our diet has been very low in anything with vitamin C, or any major amount of vitamin C. What I wanted to do is carefully come out here and look around and make sure we don't have a bear, and grab probably one of the largest ones of these that we can get. So moderate, major. Well, we'll have a Thompson's Valley stew because that should allow us to consume a reasonable amount of calories and a major amount. We have roughly 40%. Eat it. Okay, that's what I was wondering. So I had to go look it up. I had to go do a little bit of goofing around. But in order to understand how the scurvy risk works, we're going to go ahead and, I guess, plow out the next one, just so that she's got a nice full belly. I know this stuff looks absolutely great. Moderate. We'll go ahead and eat those, just to eat them, just to get them out of the way. So what we're doing here is we're working against a large, well, I should say a large pool. According to what I was reading, at least, or reading around in the wikis and whatnot, because I wanted to know. Scurvy is going to be a pool of something like 500 points, and depending on your intake versus your, loss of doing things throughout the day, you will either, maintain or lose that. Apparently, you lose something like 20 points of scurvy a day. And the deal is the only way to know how much this stuff actually is by, doing math. And you actually have to kind of sit down and understand. From that point, we were at 40%, all right? And then we filled that up and we did a few things. Give me 1 second. Let me get the right information up so we can actually look at it. Okay. So yeah, I was exactly kind of right on the end of it. As far as it goes, you're basically working with a kind of a similar thing like what we're doing with our hunger bar. Your hunger bar, or any one of those bars down in the corner, the little dials in the corner, they all represent a certain number inside the game. The problem is, again, scurvy risk is just like cabin fever or, well, even hypothermia. You know when you're going to get a hypothermia risk, or some of these other little parasite risk. You know, a parasite risk is another one of those kinds of things. With scurvy, you're not given a dial or an indicator to try to understand what you can do to, keep from getting said thing. So it's kind of one of those deals you're going to have to kind of pay attention while you're playing with stuff. So even like that one is still a pretty good deal. But as far as it goes, as just looking at it, at least from what has been found, you start the game out with 500 units of scurvy, or I should say vitamin C, whatever their units is, as far as in your character when you start the game out. Or should you say you've cured scurvy or you've gone through, you have 500 units. And Stalker and Interloper, like I said, you will lose 20 units a day, period, regardless of what you're doing, unless you're consuming stuff that has, vitamin C in it, to cover 20 units a day. Now, that's a big problem because, again, you're starting to talk about math, and math in a game like this is not necessarily something a lot of people want to play. The understanding that I'm seeing right here, right now, is that in order for us to be able to enjoy the rest of our time playing this game, we're going to need to at least consume, and here's where, like I'm saying, the bad thing happens, roughly 2 fish a day in order to maintain or overdo that 15 or that 20 that an interloper is going to lose. The thing is with that, just looking at the numbers and the amount of things, the biggest problem that you have to kind of conquer is the fact that you're only allowed to eat a certain amount of, well, calories. And those calories, even if you're going to say let it get all the way down to where you have a scurvy risk, once your scurvy risk comes back on, and then work your way back up, you'd have to be sitting there babysitting and paying attention to your poor person to make sure that they're able to at least consume enough calories over, say, a 3 or 4 or 5 day period to then be able to go another 20 days. The reason why I'm looking at this is that, again, late game interloper is going to be a royal, and I mean royally boring pain in the butt if that is how it's going to work. Man, we left all kinds of good stuff laying around. Hey, is there anything in that? Yeah, there is. Good. We should do something with that. So what we're going to need to look at is understanding where in the game now, every 20 days, once you get past a certain point in time, where are you going to go to maybe think about taking care of your little bitty issue? Now, again, we just consumed, I should have looked at that. We had the Lily's pancakes and the Thompson's Valley stew, which should have theoretically given us about 57 points plus, I'm looking at the list over here, plus 80. Okay, so you're looking at a little over 120 points into a 500 point pool that every day, daily, you lose 20 points out of. That's a pretty, I mean, I'm not going to lie, it's a pretty rough little thing considering that I ate, well, we don't have any dockworkers pie. I don't know if I ever made that. I may or may not have. But yeah, Thompson's Valley stew, looking at the list, just looking at the list from what you're going to get right off, is probably going to be one of the better ones that you can get a hold of outside of fish. So even then, the rose hips, again, this is one of those kinds of deals where eventually you're going to end up without any kind of anything because of the fact that early game, you're probably going to be, and this was one of those things I used to say, well, just go ahead and get rid of all of this stuff as early as possible. Just get rid of it because, well, this is a moderate source. And if you mix that with these various other things that are going to go there, you're going to end up eating these things very quickly because, the pancakes or the peach pies are very, very, very good early game. Burdock root has, once prepared, you can get the tea, and I believe the tea will give you a little bit of something too as well. But it's kind of like I said, it's going to be one of those deals where that really, really hurts if you're not able to maintain a reasonable stock of this stuff. Which means maybe some of those things that I said when we did all this cooking may or may not be something you want to do. You might want to cook all of everything that you possibly can into your Thompson's stew. Where is this thing? Thompson's family stew. You might want to save that canned corn and those carrots and those potatoes and those reishi mushrooms in order to be able to do something like this. I mean, that's a good chunk of food, sure, but it also gives you a very large amount of stuff for it to go through. If you guys want to look it up, just Google any kind of wiki, Long Dark wiki or something like that. The wiki fandom is a pretty good. It's not the greatest, but it does do what it needs to do, which means it's telling you the general things that you're going to need. So what I want to do, since we're here, is she should be reasonably stocked up. Man, I made a mess and didn't do anything else. What I want to do right now is I want to do a little bit of examination close to my favorite spot, because this is one of my favorite spots to stay. This is like, I know it's Pleasant Valley and I know it sucks, but like, thought I heard somebody. But like I said, it used to be, well, there's a bear over here, and can I get the right thing going here so in case we get this? There's usually a bear that wanders around out here. There's always a deer or two within a reasonable walking distance. There's always wolves. There's always a few things to eat. So it's not a bad place. Plus, it has a large amount of storage, a workbench that's indoors, and a 6-burner stove, which, you know, 6 burners are whatever. You don't necessarily need them. The biggest problem now is how close can we fish? I think that's what we're going to do with what we have left for the day, is we're going to see, and I bet you can't. You can't. Yeah, I was wondering that. Okay, and we don't have a map open. We could go do that. That means, I wonder, what time is it? Okay, so the dead guy's over there. That means Pensive Pond may end up becoming a very big location. Or, again, you may be looking at this going like, well, I guess my favorite place to stay is now no longer here. We're going to go over to Thompson's Crossing, and we're going to take a look at that particular waterfront area where there is a little boat dock, I believe, and see if they'll let us fish over there. So let's take a little walk and a wander and see who's out here today. Theoretically, given that was, like I said, it was 127 or 100, something like that, we should be good again for like 5 or 10 days of not consuming any stuff, at least for right now. 5 or 10 days, 5 or 6 days, which is fine. But again, it's like, there you go. You're looking at it saying, well, I can go spend a couple of days fishing and then eat. Well, I mean, the average number on a, I'm guessing, sorry, I keep switching back and forth. It's because of this game and the fact that when you alt-tab out of it, it closes the interface and pauses the game, kind of. But looking at it, the next easily renewable food is going to be fish. And your best, according to this little deal, fish is going to be lake whitefish and then rainbow trout. Which means, we're going to be living by a lake. So Mystery Lake, camp office, any place you have a fishing hut that is warm, maybe where you're going to end up spending the rest of your days doing things. Why am I going to that barn? We need to go to that barn. I want to go over here. Although we didn't ever look at that barn, I don't know. I mean, there's some wide areas out on this river out here that I kind of wanted to look at. But again, you could come over to the barn. There's another pond right over here. I don't know what we're going to see. If you can theoretically go live at Thompson's and put up a whole bunch of a bunch of the tip-ups, you know, like just line that area with tip-ups to where you're catching 4 or 5 fish a day, and then spend the day around that area, like, you know, catching or hunting whatever's going to be there. So the bear, maybe the wolves, you know, farm and do a little bit of stuff with picking up firewood, whatever you need. That'd be another place that you can live. But again, it's kind of like I said, we're at this point in our lives now where theoretically none of the prepared foods would be alive anymore, would be around. You wouldn't have it anymore. You'd have eaten it all by now. In 230 some odd days, there wouldn't be much left for just regular stuff. And the stuff that will end up being able to be cooked into good usable food will go away very quickly. Unless they put more stuff in for us. So I don't have anything cooked over here. I might be doing a bad thing. I don't know. We're going to go over the bridge. Actually, no, I think we're just going to kind of go like this. But like I said, this is my problem. I hate to say it. I think this might end certain things, because it's literally going to be absolutely boring if you can only go 20 days without then having to spend 5 days fishing and eating fish to then go 20 days to do whatever you want to do. And granted, I would guess at that point in time, depending on the points and the risk, the percentage of the amount of time. So once it hits a certain point, your list. Maybe I'm reading this wrong. Actually, let me rephrase that. I'm reading this wrong. Scurvy risk manifests at 100 units below vitamin C. Once it hits 0, once that number hits 0, so when you get scurvy risk, you have 5 days to find something to replenish it. Okay, well that's a number I needed to know. Which means if you hit 50 days, yeah, you're 2.5 days from being done, or 50%, you're 2.5 days from being done. So when that hits, that means we were 100%. So you're not bad when you see it. You're getting there. You have 5 days to go find food. I don't know if you can fish on this pond either. Probably not. I don't even know if it's worth looking at. No. Okay. We have plenty of stuff. Should have probably brought a little water. Again, we're just kind of moseying with this one. This is going to be her last day. If I do anything further with this character, I will load up a mod and remove that problem. And there are ways of doing it with mods. And again, I am almost 100% certain that when I started this character over, I did not select it. I did not want it in the game. But it is what it is. So we'll go over here. We'll check a couple of things. I mean, I understand the obvious. You go to, you know, Coastal Highway, or, well, even then, Coastal Highway. The only thing good you're going to get at Coastal Highway is that's actually taking Coastal Highway and making it worse, because trout are worse. Salmon are worse than the whitefish. So that means you want to be fishing. And the whitefish are some of the smallest fish in the game, but you want to be fishing for them. So, anyhow, let's go see what's over here. I don't. I think all the wolves are over there, hopefully. I don't really feel like dealing with a wolf today. I'm absolutely enjoying this this wonderful, beautiful, warm weather after all of the pain and suffering we've gone through for the last, what did I figure, 60 some odd days in game, where she spent exploring the various regions, probably 100 days. I don't know. I'd have to look at when we started the whole mess, because I know we had to go out and come back. We had to go through various locations. We had to go through each zone at least once, and then come back and do have to light up the communications towers. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. So it's been a long walk, and she's had quite a rush of things. Let's go see. I mean, you would think maybe I've never tried. No? Oh, come on, guys. Whoop, wrong one. Nope. Nope. Well, all right, now we know our answer. You're going to be doing it around a fishing hole, period, which means it's going to make those interior locations that a lot of you probably don't like great to go long-term base at. So the point would be we'd go to areas where there was a reasonably close local fishing hole and go there when you needed to do things, which means you'd need to at least, and I'm going to say it like this, you'd at least need to stock up 4 or 5 days worth of firewood or coal at each fishing location so that you can get enough, well, firewood and time on a fire to cook and, well, catch and cook enough fish to get rid of your problem. And that is not going to be here. So that's going to literally mean I'm going to have to start thinking about stocking up food. Well, not necessarily food, but hey, there's a frying pan. Bring that with you because you left it. You lost your other one. Who knows where you put it? No big deal anyway. That's going to mean for us, we need to think very much about moving or building some kind of a thing either in this zone at Pensive Pond, or I go up and start really loading up the fishing hut in Timberwolf Mountain. But we'll have to see how that all goes. Let me do a little bit of a save and reload real quick. Okay, we're going to, for the moment, I don't think there was anything we missed over here. I don't remember if we went back there. It doesn't really matter at this point. Did we end up with the other house over here? Which ones did we get? No, I probably didn't get the house I liked, the one on the other side of the bridge. Is the bear over here? Nope, I don't think we got it. Okay. Well, I'm going to say apologies for the probably very shortness on this episode. It was one of those things that I wanted to just at least get looked at, get done, and get figured out. She's not going to be able to recover a lot of that anytime soon. We'll have to work through the various things. And again, like I said, fish, looks like fish are going to be your best option, but fish, like I said, for the long-term, long run. But you're literally going to have to spend 5 days probably eating fish, given what I'm seeing as far as calorie content and, well, vitamin C levels in said animals. So it's going to kind of suck, and I'm not going to lie. It's going to literally be that the end game for interlopers and end game for, and a very, very end game for stalkers and voyagers, I guess, is that you're going to find a fishing hut. You're going to build a little bitty base around said fishing hut, and that's going to be how you're going to spend the rest of your 500 days. So I would suggest highly ration out those good foods when you find them. Anyhow, we are going to put her to bed. I will probably walk her back over to the farmhouse, and we will see what happens in the future. The next update, whenever it comes, we will probably dig her back out so that we can do a little bit of, I guess, base customization and find said trader. I will, like I said, likely fix the screw up. Hopefully I can fix the screw up. I'm pretty certain if I can just get the terminal open, the dev terminal open, I can, the dev commands, there's actually a hidden terminal in the game that you can use with a mod to be able to change variables, and that would be one of those things that I would like to fix. But I think until then, I will see you all later. We will be doing some new stuff, hopefully very shortly. I'm not done doing Long Dark content, and hopefully, like I said, the rest of this week, we may have something new come up. So I will see you all later. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time. Bye.